Alrighty, and we are live. Welcome everybody to the next session of the day for the QGIS Open Day. Hello Mario, I see your comment. So for this session, we are going to be taken through the wonderful world of 3D models in QGIS. And Victoria, all the way from Nairobi, is going to be taking us through a really cool little tutorial on 3D models, take us through some of the more technical aspects. So I'm going to waste no more time and just hand you right over to Victoria. I would also like to welcome Raymond and Tim, who are also in the room, and they will be supporting us just with their sensei-like wisdom and just giving a little bit of background knowledge and some more input into 3D models. Over to you, Vicky.
Okay, thank you, Amy. So I'm Victoria Neema, and I am currently an intern at Katoza. So today I'll be showing you a project that we have been working on with Team Sutton for a couple of weeks now. It's creating 3D models for QGIS using ODM, and I'm just going to get right into the demonstration. Let me share my screen. I hope.
Alrighty, I can see your screen.
Okay. So if you want to follow along on this in this demonstration, you can. I put the link for the repository that I made for this in the Open Day GitHub pages, and I also think Amy can pop it in the pop it into the comments for the video. So we started by making we're making a model from a cell phone video I took, and sorry, it's a cell phone video that I took, and we're going to you'll first need for Windows to configure the various software that we're going to be using throughout the demo. So as you can see, I've listed the software. We'll use the MPEG, the ImageMagick, Blender, QGIS, and the OpenDrawMap. We can use either the user interface or the command line toolkit. So the user interface is the web ODM. So particularly for the MPEG and the ImageMagick, you need to add the executable file to your Windows system path, so you can be able to use the command if anywhere on your machine, instead of having to cd to the folder where the file is located every time. And yeah, a particular issue for ImageMagick is that you need to rename the executable file so it doesn't have a conflict with another convert executable file in the Windows machine. So the fast way we can, what we're going to first do.
Sorry to just interrupt you. Can you just hide the sharing bar at the bottom of your screen? There's a little. Just say hide.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Okay. So let's get right to it. So I've got the video. It's a video of a flower box or flower pot that I have, and we're going to go into using the command line, go into the directory where the folder is.
Maybe just play the video quickly for us, Vicky, so we can see what you started with.
Okay.
Cool flower pot. Is that a cycad or a fern? Oh, it's a fern.
I don't know what plant that is.
It's a plant.
And maybe you want to just explain about like any things you should take into account when you're making your video.
Yes. So when you're taking your video, it's best to take a couple of revolutions or go around it maybe twice or thrice, just to make sure you capture all angles, and also do a sort of top to bottom sort of view around the object, just to make sure you get the like all the places, all the, I think it's just so you don't miss anything. A second thing to note is that when you're taking the video, is to make sure that the object fits inside the video frame for the entire time you're taking your video, just to help to make sure that the ODM is able to build a model properly with all the parts intact. And the revolutions are also so that you are able to sorry the resolutions are the revolutions are also so that you're able to have a fine resolution of your model, so that you have all the parts, no there's not that funny small holes, and a good overlap for ODM to be able to build the model. So once you got the video, you can place it into your working directory. Like let's say I'm just gonna copy this video into an empty folder that I have. Then we're just going to cd into that directory, and then using the fmpeg the command, we're going to extract images from the video, or video frames from the video at one frame per second, which is what I use to build the model. The other parameters is just to that defines how the images are going to be named. So we start from zero. We start from zero all the way to whatever number of images are going to be named, and give it enough space so that it's able to generate a unique identifier for each image. So I'm just going to run that command for now. It takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes from the last time I used it. And as you can see from, yes, the correct explanation was the ordinal number for each image will be formatted. Here I use 7 digits. You can specify whatever number of digits that you want. There's also a little command that Tim helped put in that you can able to generate the GIF that you can see on the screen right now. So next up, let's see if it's run. Yeah, actually it took a shorter time than I thought. So if you go to the directory where we put the video and the images, you can see generated about 61 images or frames from the video. So we can now we can start the web ODM, and it runs on the local host. And here you can create a project. Just going to create one now. And just create the project and then select images. Go to where our images are and just select all of the images. And then using this, we'll use this particular settings for the 3D model from the options. And we can just click on review. I'm not going to do that now because it takes up about 30 minutes or so to have a full model. The other option for processing is using ODM straight from command line. So if you come back here, we have just a single line command here. that runs using the Pix ODM from Docker, and the PWD is just a placeholder that you can add the absolute path to the parent directory of your current working directory. That means, let's say, you're using 3D models / flowerpot, and flowerpot is your working directory. The PWD will just put in your up to 3D models just for the command to run. Once the command has run, it takes about 29 minutes from the last time I timed it. It generates a couple of folders here. As you can see here, the ODM report, georeferencing, orthophoto, DM, texturing, 25D, meshing, and filter points, OpenSFM. And there's also another folder that it generates called ODM texturing without the 25D folder, which is where the wavefront OBJ file that we're going to be using in Blender is where you want it, we'll pick it up from there. As you can see here, the ODM texturing file. This is the folder structure that the command line generates. But when you're working from the web ODM interface, you will find that you will have to download a zip file from the interface called texture model zip. That once you're inside the file, it contains also the ODM texturing folder where the wavefront OBJ file that you want is. I'm going to show it just quickly. As you can see here, it has all the files that we need, the wavefront OBJ, the accompanying MTL file, and also the textures for the model. So now that we've done the WebODM processing, we can now move to Blender. So Blender would just start a new project, get rid of the default cube, and import our OBJ file. Takes a little bit of time. Yeah, it's on. As you can see, it comes lying on its side, so we'll need to do some rotation, scaling, and movement for it. So to see the colors of the textures that it has, we enable viewport shading. Yes, and you can see it came out pretty nicely. So we'll just use the keyboard shortcuts to sort of to transform the object and place it correctly on its axis. So we'll use the G keyboard shortcut to move it around. You can use the XYZ after pressing G to specify whichever axis you want to move on. We can also rotate it using the R key. You can then specify which axis using X, Y, and Z. Also, scaling using the S key makes it bigger or smaller on the axis that you specify. So I'm just going to rotate this for a second. Just to get it better placed. I'm just going to start it again. There's something missing. Yes. Yeah. What I was looking for is the rotation X. You can see it works. It's simple once the rotation is back to 0. So all I have to do is just move it on the Z axis just to place it a little better. And there we have it. We've placed it on the a little bit. You can move a bit. Yeah. You can also use the ZN axis if you want to center it a little bit better.
Victoria,
Yeah.
do you know in the top right corner you have this XYZ red, green, and blue? If you press those, then you get the front view and the top view and the side view exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can just freely move. So this is the Z view, or the minus Z is from down.
Yeah.
And then if you press the X, then you get the side.
Yeah.
And then you can exactly rotate it the way you need.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier than doing this from the side perspective in any angle.
Yeah. Just a little movement. This time I'm not going to really center it a bit more, but you can just move it a bit on the X and Y, Z just to get this in the middle. So the next part is to edit this model, because you see it came with a lot of space around the object that I want, which is the flower pot. So there are a couple of ways to edit it. There's the deleting, there's the by loose parts where you can first go into edit mode. Yeah, and then just right click and then select it all again. And I just forgot
it's the
where
right
it
click
was.
separate.
Yes. So we can separate by loose parts, which, as you can see, it's managed to, you can see the object sort of has now different, split into different objects. Now you can delete, you can go back into object mode and then just select what you want to delete it and delete those objects. Or you can use the second method you can use is select the object again, or select all the object, edit mode, and then sort of select like a small, like the vertices that you want to delete, and then just press X in the menu that comes up, you can just delete vertices. You'll have to repeat this a couple of times to clear a small portion, which again is a bit time consuming. The
Or if you
third
switch
way,
back to object mode, Vicky, you can then just click the whole object and just press delete, like in the top left corner. Switch back to object mode.
sorry.
If you switch back to object mode, and then you can just click off so nothing is selected, and then just select one of the loose objects and press delete.
Yeah.
If you press delete, it should delete it. No? Yeah. Okay. That's quicker than doing the dragging around and mesh and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. The other method that I saw, because just to clean up I used to clean up the area around the model, was going back into edit mode and just using the knife tool. If you hold it down, it gives you the bisect tool, and you just turn it into a way you can see clearly what you want to cut off. Select everything and then just draw a nice line around it. In the menu that comes up, you can just select whether you want to clear inner, which removes parts that are behind this line, or clear outer, which move parts that are in front of the line. So if you use clear outer, you can see it does a clean job of cleaning up the model around that area. If you go back into object mode, you can see it's pretty well done. So just again.
There's something really satisfying about this. We should make an ASMR channel, just like 3D QGIS.
Yeah.
I'm learning tricks from Vicky now as well. That's great.
Oh wow, this is cool.
As you do it, just make sure before you draw the line, you've selected everything around it. Yeah, and there we have it. It's a pretty clean model. Oh, oops, we cut off something. But it's okay. I can just import the one that we worked with.
You were pruning the leaves on the hedge.
Yes.
Virtual gardening.
A lockdown alternative to real gardening.
Okay. So there we have it. This is the model that I cleaned up previously, and it's quite well centered on the axis. So the next part of after editing, you can, like I did, you can just make a backup, export the wavefront OBJ file, and save it, and make sure to save it in the text where the textures for the original file are, because that's where the MTL file points to.
Vicky, did you want to simplify the mesh as well, or did you find you don't need to do that?
Yeah, we could simply simplify the mesh by, again, going back into edit mode and using from the mesh menu, we can do a cleanup. And by decimating the geometry, now we can just slide this ratio down as far as it goes without destroying the integrity of the model. So like for this model, I found 0.2 was a pretty good it simplifies it quite well. We can check in object mode just to see how the details on the object look. Okay, sliding it, we can check on if we can slide it a bit down by going to 0.1 to see how it checks out.
I think you must just select it first, no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If we check it in object mode, you see there's a bit of distortion around the box, like the lines breaking up, getting zigzaggy. So I think 0.2 is the pretty good option.
Your flower box collapsed.
Oh yeah, I
Maybe
think
press
blend.
undo a few times. There you go.
Let's undo it. Then back to our original model. Decimate the geometry, set it to 0.2. We can check it out again in object mode. And then, yeah, thing to note about Blender is that every time you move, I think you move out of the edit mode, it sort of assumes the geometry is at 1. And if you do it again, it sort of determines the ratio again from the particular point you left it off. So we can now export this model in as an OBJ file by using the file, export, wait for it to OBJ, save it, make sure to save it where your textures were. The textures, if I can show you, are in the ODM texturing folder. You can see all this PNG images. Those are the textures for the model, and the MTL file points to these textures. So the best practice is to put them in the same folder.
Vicky, just open up one of the texture files so that people can see like what it actually contains.
Oh.
And maybe also show the file size if you can.
It's around.
And this is where we probably need Raymond's help to figure out how to like reduce the texture file down, because you can see you've got about 10 or 15, 10 megabyte files, which is why it's slow to load the texture in QGIS for you, which we'll see just now.
I never tried, Tim, but I think it just maps the whole image on and knows where I think these are all the leaves and all the little things in the model.
Yeah, if Vicky zooms in, you'll see like you can see the different parts of the pot plant, but it generates like multiple layers of them at high resolution, and we're trying to figure out how to like, if possible, squash it down to one layer with maybe the same resolution or even lower resolution.
I think you would be able to just shrink the images, so you change the resolution, because I think the model knows relatively where the parts are and where they should go. So then you get less pixels for the same information, and the color should be kind of similar in the same spot.
So we could try a bit of image magic, resize all.
Yeah, I think if you do that, that should work.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Well, we're going off into R&D space here, but we're proposing that we could just resize all the images, all the texture images using like Image Magic, which is a command line tool, the same one that you use to generate the GIF or GIF from. And then that can make it like the images files themselves smaller, which will make it faster to load in QGIS. Could you just open one of the texture files just so that the viewers can see like what it looks like inside there? It will make more sense when they see a big version of it. Maybe just load up.
I think this is the most obvious one you're opening now with the sides of the
box.
So this is a nice one to try. So if you save this in a resolution 10 times smaller and you open it in Blender again, it should show the same kind of image but with less pixels. I would try that.
We'll try that offline, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so those are the texture files. Now, once we can export it as I'll just name it Thawport tree. So now the next part is loading it as a marker in QGIS. So as you can see, I've already prepared like a little OpenStreetMap of where I took I took a video of the plant. Now we can just create a new scratch layer. Make sure we can name it 3D marker. Set the geometry type to point, specify the coordinate reference system to be the pseudo Makata, and then just make one. Then edit it, add a new point, and save those edits. Now in the layer styling panel that we can see, first of all, we need to add the 3D map view to the project. Takes a bit time to load. Then we can set the 2D symbology to no symbol. And then in the 3D symbol, put a single symbol. In the shape parameter, specify a 3D model. And the model will now pick up the file that we got. I'm just going to pick up the path from pick up the 0.2, the flower 3, and just click OK. For the textures, the embedded will pick up the realistic form, so it can just render quicker. As we can zoom in here, change the view a bit. We have, oops.
Thus we enter the difficult to navigate QGIS in 3D part of the presentation.
Yes.
We have the Twilight Zone.
And we just have to find the location again. I moved so far. Oh yeah, found it.
You can try to switch to the navigation mode if you click at the little spanner.
Sorry,
Click
all
on the
this?
configuration, yeah, and then say configure, and then advanced, and then the sorry, it's the camera and skybox one, not the advanced. And then the navigation mode, change it to first person. Yeah. And then you can use your keyboard, the QWEASD keys. W will zoom in.
My computer didn't seem to like that.
Nope.
It's 50-50 whether QGIS is crashing or starting up a copy of Quake Eternal.
Should we take a quick bet as to which one it is? Quickly, send your comment now. There is no prize.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Bad things happened.
Yeah.
But that first person mode lets you basically fly around using your keyboard and steering with your mouse, and it's a bit easier. Maybe we should have that as the default. I don't know. I find it quite more easy to navigate the map than the other mode.
Scratchless tend not to do well. So we're just going to repeat what we did the last time. Set a single symbol 3D model.
Just to be clear, you don't need to use a scratch layer if you're just doing it for the demo. You could use any point layer.
Colin says, run QGIS on 8 gigs of RAM.
Yep. And I'm not sure what happened this time, but let's try a different model. And we'll try to find the model. Where did it go?
Vicky, try to put it just on sphere instead of the 3D model first to see if it just renders in a simple way.
Julius.
You use it just as a sphere for the model instead of the 3D model.
Just a second. I think let's restart that view.
Make a sphere radius like 10 or something.
Oh yeah, I did. Sorry, rookie mistake. I got out my point.
At the point.
Yay! Okay.
And there it is.
Zoom in while it's a sphere and then switch it to the 3D model once you've got your zoom right. No, yeah.
And there we have it. We have our 3D model in QGIS.
It's so cool. It's like The Sims. It's amazing. I'm so impressed.
I did have that thought.
Yeah, it's very much so. Yeah, we're all going to be building video games in QGIS. I think it's the future.
Cool.
Well done, Vicky.
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
So if she wants to, she can turn on the actual material, but on her computer it's a bit slower. It just doesn't ever finish trying to render it. On my computer it will show after I leave it for a minute or two. But I think if we go back and resample the materials down to a low resolution, that might fix that.
Yes.
Tim, how long has QGIS been able to import OBJ files? Quite a few people are surprised that you can and think it's pretty cool. So is it relatively new functionality?
For ages.
For ages?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember which version it was added. We'd have to go look on the changelog. I will consult the changelog quickly and figure it out.
No, but this is fantastic. Very cool.
Yeah, it opens up lots of possibilities for like rendering buildings and creating 3D cityscapes and walkthroughs and so on. There are a couple of limitations maybe we can talk about besides just the performance thing that we're seeing now. You can see it's fairly slow to draw on Vicky's computer. So one way to address that is to try to make your models as small as possible. Well, in Bucharest, Raymond made me a nice olive tree for my farm, and he made it like really small by just drawing it manually rather than scanning it. And if you can do it that way, then it's much more performant than these scanned models. But the scanned models obviously have the nice thing about being like life realistic, and but still just reducing the mesh size and then the material, I think, will make it perform better. The other big limitation is just in the rendering engine of QGIS. You can see like in the options on 3D Marker that on Vicky's screen, you can do a single symbol or rule-based render, but we don't have any way to do data-driven model property. For example, next to the model box on the styling panel on the right there, like it would be great if we could have something that took the name of the model from an attribute of the point or polygon or whatever, because that way then we could have easily a different model for each point. But at the moment, if you want to do a different model for each point, you need to make a rule-based renderer, 3D rule-based renderer, and then make a rule for every different point, which is quite irritating or time-consuming to do.
Mm-hmm. So we have a couple of quick-fire questions in the live chat. So Daniel Alvarado asks, how can he get figures in 3D? Are they already created ones?
Yeah, Raymond's probably the best person to point people to, but there's like whole galleries of 3D objects that you can go and find. Raymond, maybe you've got some hot tips there.
Yeah, I think like with SVGs, it's possible to download these object files or STL files from all kinds of places. I never really looked for that, but I'm pretty sure they must be there.
I see Colin says 3ds Sky has premium and free ready building models, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I'm always looking for is more the styles you also use in two-dimensional maps. So normally when you make a map, you don't want, for example, the OpenStreetMap you see on screen right now. The burger doesn't look like a real burger. It's like a stylish, simple one that represents one. And when you see it, you know it's like a fork and a spoon and a dollar bill or whatever. So that's what you want in a map, I think. And in 3D, I think you can do both things. One is try to recreate the real world again. So when you navigate around, it will really look like the real world. And then you need these kind of fancy and large objects. But maybe you just want like a tree or a street light or I don't know, kinds of objects that are like 3D legend styles, and try making those, and they could be drawn in Blender, for example, and exported, which is similar to the olive tree I made for Tim, which is something in between, because that's where I try to make something that really looked a bit like an olive tree.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then Luisa, who is a PhD candidate from Brazil, she asks, can this be done for larger objects such as buildings? I know you mentioned that, Tim, but is it feasible? Will it take a long time? So how can you do this sort of thing for buildings?
Hola, Luisa. Yes, you can do it. In fact, if you look in the open day, maybe you can look in the previous open days quickly, Amy, for the presentation by Jorge Gustavo Rocha. He showed how you can use your drone to fly around a building and then bring it into ODM, and that using that exact same technique that Vicky's just shown, you could take drone imagery and reconstruct a 3D model from your drone mosaic.
I'll have a look for that video and attach it into the description for this video. Alrighty, there are a couple other quick fire questions coming through. So Maria asks, is it possible to do the same with a 3D model of a building, let's say taken with a drone? I think we just answered that question. Winning!
Hey. Two for the price of one.
Exactly. I don't know if there are any more questions, or if you have any other interesting cool
I can
things
mention
to
one other shortcoming that people must be might want to be aware of, is that when you like Vicky, she went and turned off the 2D rendering. Vicky, click around on your user interface while I'm chatting, if you don't mind there. So if you go on the paintbrush, she set it to no symbols. So at the moment, like QGIS, if you have both 2D and 3D on, they'll both appear in the 3D map. One will be like a flat rendered, you can just turn it back on. You'll see there's the point in 2D that's been drawn underneath the 3D object, which is a bit messy. And it's also a bit awkward to, like, if you want to see the same layer in both 3D and 2D, you basically need to work with QGIS themes. We should probably have another whole session on QGIS themes on another open day, just to explain how they will work. But you can find the themes support in, Vicky, if you don't mind to go to your layers panel on the little eye icon, you'll see that there is options to add, replace, and so on themes. And so the normal workflow to do that is you create a theme, which is just all your 3D style cartography in it, and another theme, which is just your 2D cartography. And then you can tell, if you don't mind to click on the spanner of the 3D map again, I hope it don't crash your QGIS. Then you can tell the map just in the little in the map itself, and the little spanner, the little wrench, configure, and you can tell it to follow it. I think if you go to I can't remember which panel it's on, but just click through them all. We'll see it quickly. I think it's the first one probably. You can tell the 3D to follow a particular map theme. Maybe just jump through them all. I can't remember where the setting is now. But what would be nice would be to be able to say, like in the theme designer, that okay, I only want to see this like 2D. Like I don't want it to be available in the 3D view. instead of having to do it with themes. I don't know where the option is gone, but maybe if you could just close this dialog again. And I think it's in one of the other buttons here. Yes, that one there. Thank you. I should have recognized it by the little eye icon. So over there, you can go and set it to your 3D map theme. Like I said, we could probably do a whole session on how themes work in QGIS. It's just something to bear in mind if you're trying to have both the 2D view and the 3D view kind of looking nice at the same time. And maybe the last thing to mention about 3D, as we've already seen in this session, is that 3D causes QGIS to crash fairly regularly. So save your work a lot and make sure you've got something to go back to if you do have a crash.
All righty. We just have a couple of thank yous and congratulations and excellent work coming through. So I think this is where I'm going to wrap us up. We do have an hour's break in the program after this, so run off, go and grab a cup of tea. And our next session will be with Tim and a whole bunch of QGIS enthusiasts, and we will be doing a freestyle session. So please, in this break, go and have a look at the wiki for any information. And if you want to, take part and get involved in that, please do. That would be amazing. So thank you.
Just to interrupt, it is an interactive session, so you're all invited to follow along and play along as we kind of just play with what you can do in QGIS.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that just leaves me to thank Victoria, Raymond, and Tim for this really, really great session. It's great to know the basics of how to do everything, just have a really clear, step by step on how to do this. And I think it's really cool. And it's got great applications for those of us who want to, really build 3D and graphic maps that everyone can understand. So thank you so much.
Share your 3D models on Telegram once you've made them.
Definitely. All right. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.